Florence Louise Fisher was an American motivational speaker during the 1960s and 70s, known for touring high schools across the United States to share her harrowing past as a heroin addict and sex worker.
Oh,
Her dramatic delivery and sensational stories, which included accounts of prostitution, jailhouse relationships, and botched abortions, earned her a cult following in the late 70s and 80s. Recordings of her speeches, especially on VHS, later became sought-after collector's items.
If I can make an impression on just one of you kids that's here, that's really all I want. Because if somebody somewhere had made an impression on me, maybe I wouldn't have done it.
Underwear, alcohol, syphilis, murder, forbidden. And before we dive into that, I just wanted to explain why I chose this one.
mm-hmm.
And I actually changed my episode Wednesday night.
Did you do it because she reminded you of Jerri Blank?
So Amy Sedaris, Paul Dinello, Mitch Rouse, and Stephen Colbert were developing a television pilot, trying to find that one element that pulled it all together when Paul Dinello watched a tape of motivational speaker Florrie Fisher, and that was it.
Oh my God, I got it. Because
That's hilarious.
I have never heard of this woman, by the way. As soon as you started talking at the beginning and you said something about a motivational speaker, former drug addict, like sex worker, that sort of thing, I'm like, this sounds like Jerri Blank.
In fact, it does.
Oh my God. Well, I'm going to go ahead and welcome everyone to Forbidden. I can't believe that. The podcast where we discuss the dark, disgusting, and the disgraceful and our unmentionables. That's right, folks. We've slipped into something a bit more comfortable. Have a drink in hand. Hope you are doing the same. Welcome. My name is Amanda Kamada.
And I'm Blake Roberts.
And this is our limited series, Narcotic. From the street corners to boardrooms, cartel strongholds to government cover-ups, this series explores how drugs shape lives, fuel violence, and quietly influence the systems we trust. So I can't wait to hear more about this, because this is, Strangers with Candy is one of my favorite series ever.
Mine too.
Yeah. I can
quotable.
literally watch it over and over again, kind of like Ab Fab. Like, I never get tired of it.
I actually used to alternate those two. Like when I was in college, I could just, like if I was working on a project, I would just play it in the background, both of the series.
Yeah.
So role models, really, Jerri
Yes.
Blank and
Yes.
Patsy and Adina.
Yes. Well, they are real, like, pillars of my life growing up, particularly like my 20s and stuff like that, like my college years and that sort of thing. So I'm kind of with you, like my, just getting started times. But I know it's early this morning that we're taping. What are you drinking this morning?
Well, I hate to say it, but I'm drinking a jasmine tea right now.
Oh, how boring of you.
Well, I'll tell you, Josh just woke up. You might hear him milling about. We're going to do Bloody Marys in a little bit.
Perfect. Well,
Yeah.
I've got a head start on you, but it's noon here. So I have gone the natural route this morning. I have taken a THC CBD gummy and am also imbibing with a double high fiber. It's a pink burst flavor. It has 10 milligrams of THC per can, 0 calories, 0 carbs. So basically, I'm just going to be high during this today, which is perfect for Narcotic.
And it's perfect for Florrie Fisher.
Yes. So tell us more about old Florrie.
I'll start sort of with Jerri Blank just real quickly. So the character Jerri Blank was born basically from Florrie Fisher. And the series Strangers with Candy made it to Comedy Central for 3 seasons before becoming a major motion picture and a cult classic. Florrie Fisher met a young man, a zoot suitor, in the 1940s and immediately fell for him. The whole bit with like the peg pants, long jacket, and the swinging keychain, the mustache, and the sideburns. He offered her some pot. She claimed to have loved it, even though it made her nauseous. So she was like just trying to, impress him.
Right.
She eventually graduated to pills, uppers and downers. One night in 1952, at an after party on 52nd Street in New York City, the couple tried heroin, or horse as she calls it, for the first time. The man almost died, but Florrie was immediately hooked. She was eventually so addicted that her habit cost $185 a day.
That's a lot.
In the mid-50s, in
That's a lot
2025,
today.
in $2025, this would be right around the $2,000 mark.
Holy shit.
$2,000 a day.
Fuck.
So,
That's a lot of
Amanda,
heroin.
it is. And how does a young female addict sustain that type of lifestyle?
Well, I think because there was not OnlyFans back then, I think you got to go the old-fashioned sex worker route.
That's correct. She began working for a madam as a call girl, earning $100 a pop. Which is like really good.
That is a really good thing. And you know what? I've always had an interest in like trying to be a call girl just for a night or something.
Yeah.
I've always like found them to be fascinating.
Me too. But on
yeah.
the gigolo side.
Yeah. For real.
So I don't know if it was $100 a pop or if it was like she averaged $100 a night or whatever.
I mean, if it was $100 a pop, again, in today's money, that's good. That's good money.
Yeah. So she eventually stole the madam's address book and became her own madam. She got older, aged hard, and became cheaper.
He smoked marijuana. This was his only crime. He was a young kid. He had 2 years of college. And you know what I did? I made a pimp out of him, an 18-carat pimp. I was a call girl. I was young, I was fly, I was pretty, and I was out selling my body. Kept going to jail, and 10 years later, I had to be $10 cheaper, and I wasn't a call girl. I became a madam. Then I became a street whore. Then I've been in every department store. My mug is in every post office. It isn't now, thank God, but it was. But there was no place that I could go, and I kept going to jail. I was busted 3 months after I got my first habit, and I was sentenced to 1 to 3 years.
That marijuana gateway drug.
I know, and you're about to get hooked.
I know. I'll be a sex worker before you know it.
She was quoted as saying, "When you're unable to get them, you get sick. You writhe on the floor, you run from every orifice of your body. Your bowels break, you vomit, you sweat, you die." That was a quote from Florrie.
Sounds lovely.
It does. So enticing.
Yeah.
She said that when you're getting hooked, there's a euphoric high, but once you are hooked, there's no more high. At that point, you need it to not feel sick.
Oh, this sounds awful. Kids, stay away from the horse.
Yeah, exactly. Florrie claimed to have been fingerprinted 72 times. All in, she totaled 17 years, 5 months, and 29 days in jail.
It's a pretty solid amount of time.
It is. It's like a career.
Yeah.
That's like as long as I've been in marketing. I don't know which is worse.
I was about to say, let's see, which one would you rather have been in?
I mean, it's been a week. This temporary euphoria sounds pretty...
I mean, work is sort of like a prison, right?
Feels that way sometimes.
Yes.
She worked on a chain gang in Florida and was tossed naked into a sweatbox for 90 days. The box was made of aluminum and wasn't tall enough to stand in or wide enough to lay in. She ate in there, she messed in there, and when the stench became too much, the guards would open the box and hose her off.
Oh, that is completely inhumane. That was allowed? That's
Florida,
awful.
Yeah. It probably still goes on in Florida.
Yeah. I gotta watch what I do in Florida.
Start using goofballs, start using marijuana, start using horse, and then go to jail. And then you know what? You go into a place like I went to, Rayford, Florida State Penitentiary, where you're thrown into a sardine can, where you eat and you sleep and you mess on the floor and you lay naked for male and female guards to check up on you. And in the morning, because the smell is ridiculous, they hose you out with a power hose. You're told when to eat, what to eat, how to eat, and what do you eat? Beans and cornbread in the afternoon. coffee and grits in the morning, and rice and hogshead cheese in the night, every day from Monday to Sunday. This is what you get. You have no pride. You have no respect. You're stripped of every vestige of anything that you were given by God.
Man, she had it rough.
Yeah, it's tough living.
Yeah.
Tough living. Even in incarceration, Florrie was able to acquire drugs from guards and social workers. She said, you know, a little money talks to a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
She also said, it was in jail that I learned to be a lesbian, both sides of it, how to be a mommy and how to be a daddy. And she says the difference between a lesbian, a lessie, and a dyke is that most lessies are born, dykes are made. At least that's how we figure it in jail.
Oh, wow.
This is so fascinating.
This is like Jerri Blank.
Yes,
Like
absolutely.
they did a really good job with that. Satire. The satire. Yeah.
So, born in Brooklyn in 1918, she had been a spoiled child. Her parents loved her, and she was able to manipulate and lie to her benefit. Florrie never really tried quitting drugs, but said it wasn't even the 72-hour come down that prevented her from trying. It was the psychological addiction that kept her going. 23 years after her addiction started, she was in detention when a paddy wagon unloaded a couple dozen young women. They were gorgeous. They were 17, 18, 19 years old. And here's 46-year-old Florrie sitting there, worn down from her habit. That's when she decided to kick it and get her life back on track. She knew she couldn't compete with them as a sex worker. She couldn't shoplift anymore because every store detective recognized her. She was scared.
That's fine. You're taking morphine or you're taking heroin. But what about the mother who says, I don't believe it. I told my daughter to do the bedroom and she's cleaning the whole house. Isn't this marvelous? She's just abounding with energy. Well, 9 chances out of 10, she's abounding with methadone, speed, disoxin, amphetamine, cocaine. These are exhilarants.
I always said that if I had children, I could tell if they were on drugs or not because I've done enough of them to know.
I believe that. I think you could.
I think I totally did.
If you had children.
Yeah, but I'm not. So I guess I should say to my nephews, watch out, because when you get older, I will know.
Yes, Aunt Amanda's watching.
Yes, I am watching you.
During her last sentence, she discovered Synanon. Do you remember this? Synanon?
Mm-mm.
I only knew it by name. So, Synanon, the self-help program based in California. She wrote them 3 letters, and in the final, she was honest. She says, I'm 46 years old. I'm tired. I've been going to jail for almost 18 years. I've used drugs for 23 years. My parents have gone through fortunes trying to help me. Obviously, I need help. I can't help myself. Won't you please help me? About a week later, a lawyer from Synanon came in and interviewed her while in detention. She was told that Synanon focused on younger addicts, but so this guy holds up a volume of paperwork and said, but this is beautiful. And it was her record.
Oh my God.
He basically was like, this is such a challenge. Like,
we're doing
challenge
it.
Accepted, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She was released on February 11th, 1962 at 10:28 a.m., was flown to Synanon in LA, and stayed there for 3 years. So there's a whole story in Synanon, but just a real quick little blurb. Synanon, a 1950s anti-drug cult known for using psychological abuse, isolation, and humiliation under the guise of therapy. Although discredited and shut down in 1991, almost 40 years later, Synanon's techniques lived on through programs like The Seed and its successor, Straight Inc., which operated under the support of political figures and used similar coercive tactics on teenagers.
The lawyer for Synanon came into the house of detention, and February 11th, 1964, when I was released, there are many clinics here. They are all imitations of Synanon. If you kids have a problem, I don't say go in and join. Go in and find out what it's all about, because all the people there have in one way or another identified with me. They can help you. You kids need help. I assume this is your teacher. Don't be afraid. She's only there to help you. Tell her, get up enough moxie to go and say, I did something, I'm afraid, help me.
So I said 1962. It was 1964. So even 4 years after her last use, she still recognized that she was an addict. She spent a year with her parents in Florida working with kids. She met a man, moved back to NYC, and got married. Florrie couldn't even walk down Broadway without getting the shakes, because that was like her old stomping ground. After a 23-year addiction associating with roughly 1,000 junkies, she said every one of them started on pot. It's not physically addictive, she claimed, but it is psychologically addictive. In 1970, she appeared in a PSA called The Trip Back, which is what all these clips are from.
Mm-hmm.
She addressed a New York high school assembly. She traveled and spoke at schools, wrote the autobiography The Lonely Trip Back. Florrie Fisher died on May 26, 1972 in a Miami hospital, the result of liver cancer, kidney failure, and heart arrest.
I have another question.
Please.
You made it seem obvious that anyone who takes drugs, or let's say marijuana, is seeking some kind of mind satisfaction, or that they have worries, and then you also stated that they need psychiatric help. I don't think it's necessarily true that anyone who tries pot needs psychiatric help, because marijuana is very much like cigarettes. You have many kids right here in this audience who sit down and smoke, or who drink occasionally, and I think they need, if a pot smoker needs psychiatric help, they need just as much psychiatric help as any other pot smoker.
You know, I have been generalizing all along, but I guess in your case, I have to individualize. There are some people that I know who only smoke marijuana, never graduated to heroin. This is what you're saying, right? Yeah, I mean, you say some of them smoke and don't need psychiatric help. Well, I have 6 people that I counted friends who use marijuana, and they never did graduate to heroin. You know why? Because on marijuana, they committed crimes of passion and were electrocuted before they got a chance to get hooked up.
She's full of good news.
She is. Just
I love that she she's like, it's everything is so generalized. Like you're like speaking to this like entire group of people, and you're generalizing all of them just right off the bat as like drug addicts.
oh yeah.
Yeah. Because probably 70% of those people sitting there have smoked pot at least once, and so they're giving this, like they have her there to scare them straight.
Totally.
Sort of thing. Like, did you ever have that kind of stuff in high school, like motivational speaker kind of things that came through?
No, I went to a private Christian school, so they chose like not to address anything. It's like bottle it up and keep it inside and don't talk about it.
That is got to be the healthiest way to deal with things. I mean, what a great way to what a great thing to teach all the students, to bottle things up and hide.
It's fabulous.
Yeah.
It's the way of the wasp.
Yeah. But I think I had a motivational speaker come in a couple times, but it was never anything like this. I mean, it was probably like, yeah, don't do drugs, but not like, that's crazy.
Florrie's fabulous.
Yeah. And even more so fabulous because like the satire for Jerri Blank, I mean, that is like amazing.
Yeah. So real quick, I'm going to go through my sources for this.
Sure. Yeah.
So there's an article from GQ.com, which was the mini oral history of Strangers with Candy. Wikipedia, because there's not a whole lot on Florrie Fisher. She actually wrote a book, an autobiography, which you can find online used, but the cheapest one I could find was like $285.
Shit. Sorry.
I mean, cult status,
Yeah.
So I didn't get to read that, but I would love to.
Oh, I would love that.
There is an article from the Rotarian from March 1973, which is, I think it was a Florida publication, titled Back from Hell. Motherjones.com. There's a little blurb about Synanon from that. And then a blog on TypePad called 44. It's like an old blog from 2006 about Florrie Fisher and how that influenced Strangers with Candy. And then this documentary is like a 27-minute clip, which you can find on YouTube, called The Trip Back with Florrie Fisher. But the first time I ever saw that was on the box set the DVD box set for Strangers with Candy. They had included it in the
Oh,
bonus materials, and I used to watch it and just laugh.
that's hilarious. I didn't know that. I've only watched Strangers with Candy through like television. I don't think that I have them like on DVDs, or no one has anything on DVDs anymore.
Right.
But you know
I
what I mean?
I loved the DVD though, because when you would put it in, the menu would just go through quotes. Like it would just like audio clips of sound
Yeah.
bites of Jerry Blank and other characters just saying their ridiculous lines.
It's sexy. It makes me as damp as a cellar down there. All mildewy. Enter if you dare.
But anyway, so Jerri Blank, you already know this, a high school dropout, addict, and prostitute, decided to return to high school to pick up exactly where she left off those many years before. Her classmates never addressed the age difference, and she's constantly learning the wrong lesson, which is just such like a hilarious premise.
Look, I rode that brown tiger for 20 years. It took me through a carnival of hell. I became the plaything of Indonesian businessmen. By the end, I was barely human. But I'm willing to give it another shot.
She's beat down and like physically like
Sad.
sad,
It
but
hurt.
she's
Hurt.
trying so hard to fit in
Yeah.
and trying to recover from all of this, like these terrible things that she's experienced and done. And there's always, it's like a PSA. So every episode is like she's supposed to learn a lesson, but she always learns the wrong one.
Yeah.
Maybe sexual harassment is wrong. I got you right in the cranberry.
Which is fabulous.
I'm gonna have to watch that this weekend now. Like honestly, listeners, like if you have never watched Strangers with Candy, like you have to watch it. I cannot recommend anything else quite the same. You know, maybe Summer Heights High. Summer Heights High is pretty good. too.
With Jamae, Private School
Yeah.
Girl.
Yeah.
Yes, I
Yeah.
love that one.
But definitely not as good as Strangers with Candy, but in a
No.
similar genre. Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah, I would say there's a few series that I sort of put into this category, which is like over the top gay cult status. Absolutely Fabulous, Kath and Kim from Australia, Summer Heights High from Australia, Strangers with Candy. There's probably a couple others I'm not thinking of right now, but
Mhm.
tho-
The more
those
recent one is Schitt's Creek, I think.
Schitt's Creek, yeah, may a little bit more elevated
Mm,
than those others. Maybe
yeah.
not AbFab. I mean, AbFab's somewhat elevated, but maybe it's just the accent.
Yes. Maybe it's because it's BBC and I love everything British, you know.
Yeah. So, real quick, I wanted to. I changed my story. My hair is. I feel like Conan O'Brien right now. It's like doing like.
A pompadour.
Yeah. Look at
Yeah.
that. I woke up. I woke up like this, literally. Ugh, fuck it, you guys. Fuck it. Hang on, let me correct myself here. So this really describes my week, though. This is how I felt all week. It was such a shit show, and I had planned on doing a
Another
completely
story.
different story, like a more serious story. And I had been drafting it, and then it was like midweek, and you and I we kept having to push back our recording for various things, mostly on my side. And I was just like, you know what, I can't deal with the really serious. And it's drugs, like there's so much gravity to like this theme.
Yeah.
It was like, how can I do a story that's not so heavy right now? Because I just don't have the mental capacity for it. And Josh sent me a clip on Instagram that was Florrie Fisher, and I was like, oh, done. That's it. That's what I'm doing.
Done. Yeah. I mean,
So-
did you know about her beforehand because of the botched set?
Oh, for like 25 years. Yeah.
I have no idea how I didn't know about this. I
Yeah,
think I must have just
I'd forgotten
watched the
about her.
show. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so funny that it pulled it out, like you pulled it right out of me. I was like, God, this sounds like Jerri Blank. And then
Yeah,
we went
I thought,
straight
oh,
into it.
I was like, oh, she knows this. But it's just so funny you're able to connect those dots so
I
quickly.
just connected those dots, so I had never heard of the real person that it was based upon, like, ever.
Yeah, that's amazing that you got it so
Yeah,
quickly.
yeah.
I know it's a heavy topic and like addiction, and so I felt a little weird doing something that sort of makes light of it so much, but it
Mhm.
had such like a subcultural impact, and it really did shape my sense of humor. And we've said it before, and so many people say it's like you just try and find the light in dark places.
Mm,
You laugh about it or you cry about it, and I choose to laugh. So
yeah. And I love, like, shows like that where the satire is very, like, I love dark comedy, you
same.
know? I just adore it, like, and, just irreverent type of acting and stuff like that, and scripts, and,
Yeah,
and a lot of those shows actually are, done like improv style. They'll just give them a script and say, okay, here's the scene, here are a couple lines, go,
yeah. Like here's your
which is
marks.
like amazing that
Yeah.
people can do that. I find that to be incredible.
And I think what stood out for me about Strangers with Candy specifically is it really is like equal opportunity offender. Like they go after everyone.
Everyone.
I'm not an Indian. It's just a coincidence that I have a love of gambling and booze and a knack for catching syphilis.
Which is hilarious. So Amy Sedaris is Greek, and there's jokes about Greeks in there. There's jokes about gays in there. Everyone knows her brother David Sedaris, who's like a famous author who is gay, I should say.
Mm,
Yeah, they go after everyone. It's
it's
incredible.
amazing. It's
And Stephen
incredible.
Colbert, like introduction to Stephen, he plays high school teacher Chuck Noblett, history teacher.
My vagina is on fire.
And then Paul Dinello plays the art teacher.
I just started this job and my plugs weren't taking. My parents were brutally murdered and I was fat. So I turned to pot hoping it would solve my problems. But you know something? The only thing it fixed was my life. Look, all I'm saying is if you still want to smoke pot, then be prepared to spend a lot of time laughing with your friends.
And they have this like clandestine love affair, which is hysterical. Yeah, it's just such a great cast. It's just one of those that if like you're having a rough week, you can put it on and just like escape into it, which is what I had this week.
Yeah.
So
It's no, this was an interesting choice. I think I love the route that you went, because it is something that really happened, and her story's quite remarkable,
yeah,
honestly, because like she was old as fuck, and had like some serious like habits and stuff like that, but to be like, I don't know, she was kind of a badass,
totally.
I mean,
Yeah,
she's like going to prison, like, like putting up with all of that. I can't believe that story about the being in solitary confinement or whatever. That was like totally fucked up. I mean, she's had like a lot of shit. She had a lot of shit happen to her, like that she made it through. Dude, I would be so dead. Like, I mean, just the fact that she never OD'd is remarkable.
yeah. Well, I think that's part of what makes her
Or
like
or
a sort
did she? I don't know.
of right. That's part of what makes her like a gay icon. It's that thing of like a strong woman who was beat down and then overcame adversity like that. Like Britney, when she had her blackout era,
Yeah, when
shaved
she
her
turned
head and
red.
had the umbrella. Yeah. So love her. Anyway,
Yeah, sometimes I could wish I could have a moment where I just go mad and like shave my head or something, just go crazy.
don't do it.
But I won't. I don't think it would be a good look. I think I've gone short enough. Like I love my hair, but
Mhm.
I don't want a buzz cut. Let's just say that.
Yeah. You look like one of those dykes that she was talking about.
Yes, exactly. It's just not a look for me.
No.
No, not for me. Oh gosh. Well, that was so good. Yeah, I really enjoyed that.
Well, I'm glad we had just a fun little kickoff here on this Saturday morning on Easter weekend.
Yes, he is risen.
He is risen. So where can the people do all the things, Amanda?
Well, you can look us up at the Forbidden Pod on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple. You can also go to the social sphere and see us. I guess I would say YouTube is also in the social sphere, but Facebook, Instagram, TikTok sometimes, maybe. I don't know. We'll surprise you. Go and look at old TikToks. Or do they save TikToks? See, I don't know anything about social, like the
Yes, you
TikTok
can still
thing.
find them on there.
You can still find them on there. Okay, good. I wasn't sure if they disappeared or something like that. Is that more like Snapchat was?
Yeah, or like stories on Instagram.
Yeah, stories. Exactly. So that's also at the Forbidden Pod. And then we have a website, www.theforbiddenpod.com. And you can send your nudes to us anytime at hello@theforbiddenpod.com.
Yes. Well, thank you for listening to my story, Amanda.
Thank you for telling such a fun story. And thank you for bringing up Strangers with Candy. What a great way to get my Saturday started, honestly.
Yeah, this is what we'll be doing
A
this week.
good giggle is good for a Saturday after I've had a rough week myself this week. So, which I'll tell you about offline a little bit more.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's kind of one of those weeks where I'm like, I needed this. So thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you're
And
welcome.
yes, and listeners, as always, we
Thank
thank you.
I'll make your pinky all stinky.